Aotearoa Sounds.
E ngā reo, e ngā mana, rauranga tira mā, tēnā koutou katoa. Tālu whalawa, noa ia I Māori, ni sambula vinaka, malo I lau mālie. You're with the podcast series, SOUNZ Podcast, a discovery of music as a vision-impaired tagata for SOUNZ, Centre for New Zealand Music, toi te arapuoro. Ko tau ili alpha Maiava ahau, o a ura nei o tau ili alpha Maiava. Our guest today is Wae Aumalesulu, a New Zealand music producer and entrepreneur. We sat down with him to hear his journey from the village of his birth in Samoa to his discovery of music and his unique testimony of operating a studio and producing music as a vision-impaired tagata.
My name is Wae Aumalesulu. I am of Samoan descent. I come from Savaii. Yeah. And my dad is a Siutu Salailua. My mum is Sapoi Whanalihi. And yeah, that's a brief about myself.
Birthplace, where about in Aotearoa do you reside?
Oh,
Are you married, one wife?
Yeah, I'm currently living in South Auckland, Manarua. And yeah, I am married, one wife, and 4 kids. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Birthplace, yeah, obviously Siutu Salailua, in Samoa, and then migrated to NZ in 94. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Now, for people that are listening in and also those of our community with the low visual, can you describe what it is you do?
My current profession is I'm a music producer and I run a full-time music studio. I'm self-employed. I was a teacher for 11 years, music teacher for 11 years. Then I resigned in 2019 to pursue my career of being a music producer. I thought I'd give that a decent go. And yeah, it's been quite rewarding since.
Now, with regards to the music, as you were saying, if we had to look at a starting point, how did it all begin? How did it all come about? Where was, would you say, the starting point of you and music becoming a marriage of love?
Thanks for the question. Yeah, no, the marriage between myself and music, I think it began in Samoa. Back in the islands when we were little youngsters, our father had a little radio. I'm not sure what they're called. They're like the ones with the one speaker and like a boombox type thing. Or no, like little transistor radios. And that used to be our best friend, my brother and I. And so where children, normal children would play with their toys that they would acquire from their families over in NZ, we had this radio which became our best friend. And then obviously come to New Zealand and we had great teachers who dared to challenge the boundaries of their roles just to give us extra exposure to the talent, to the talent of music. And I think, that's what I'm pretty thankful for those teachers who were able to do that and felt that they could do that for us,
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being pure, traditional, indigenous, folklorish kind of music that is being produced or that you are in charge of, and 10 representing everything modern, where does your contribution, your expertise, and your preferred practice sit?
I think I sit at about a 7, meaning that I love the traditional stuff. And I let that drive me in terms of the cultural aspects. And then also I have the interest, a really high interest and love for the modern stuff that's coming through. And more because I believe that music has to adapt and has to be able to have a foot in the future, allowing those new sound waves to be able to flourish within our creations is key for me.
Are there any specific individuals or are there any scenarios that for you, you look at and credit in terms of your unique testimony within the craft and your own approach to music?
I tend not to look at individuals in a specific way. I tend to look at individuals in a collective way, and I think it's more so like the ones who are daring to take sounds and be creative with it in a new way, in a daring way, I should say. And that for me is really exciting. And then so anybody who dares to do that in my books is a hero.
Okay. So everyone, a village, whoever had some sort of anything to do, passing by humming a tune, or the music teacher, to those church singing that we just can't get out of, even if you want to. Can we just touch on your disability for those that are tuning in and unable to view any visual of this? Yep. Just so, because we're talking so much about music, I'm like, hold on a minute, the brother is an X-Man. Can we just dive into that space quickly?
No worries, Xavier. I am visually impaired. I have a whole list of things that come with me in terms of my eye condition, some of which include retina detachment, bilateral corneal grafts, and then our favorite, which is glaucoma, which means that I've got to watch the pressures in my eyes. Otherwise, if they get too high, I will lose it completely. So I've got light perception and some shapes and colors if I look closely. Yeah.
And on top of that, you own a record label.
Some of the things we do.
Here's a question for you. Now, can you elaborate some of the challenges for practitioners of your industry with certain ability limitations? And I guess when we talk about limitations, it's more than just physical. Sometimes there's the spiritual, the mental element. But for those who are tuning in, who have various barriers in the way of them, that are lover of music and also want to pursue whatever in life that they'd like to get into, but there are certain elephants within their individual rooms from your experience.
Yeah. I'll answer this in a couple of ways. I think I will also do this in a like a whamalosi, or using the English term for it. It props up to all my producers out there who are thinking of getting into it. I think one of the main things that you'll find, or personally that I've found, is the ability to change people's personal views on the disability thing. I think that one of the biggest challenges is not so much what we can do within our various disability barriers, but more so how we do what we do whilst trying to change the disability paradigm, so to speak. And that is how other people view us. So the challenges facing the whole, if we're doing something and they're wowed by it, it's like the question of, wow, are you so wowed? So we need to help break down that stigma.
Are they, but you're saying that, are they wowed because they are blown away by the skill, or are they wowed because, wow,
that's it.
That guy with no vision can do that?
With no vision can do that. Yeah, and it's a whole filtering through how we define like the two separate wows that people have towards us. And then once we can break that down and hone in on that, then I think that's one of the biggest challenges that I found. And more so, and then when we find that, then that's when we shine through as an individual with a disability. Yeah.
Do you remember that summer college event that we did, right? I deliberately put you at the back, and the whole plan was at the end of that, I'm going to bring you to the front, because people didn't even know that the entire sound mixing and the sound engineer of that entire event, they didn't know who it was. They just assumed that, oh man, it's probably, nobody would even think that a guy who very low visual is behind mixing all that sound. And I just remember at the end of it all, I made a point of bringing you forward and saying, and they were like, what? That guy is got a walking stick and leading onto someone. There's the sound mixer? And the conversation that happened that night. Yeah. But you're right, because now I'm thinking back, were they conversating about the fact that the sound was amazing? Or, I can't believe blind people can do that.
Yeah.
You know? But that we will uncover one day. But thank you for answering that. Would you say that your identity is defined by what you do, or who you are is an outcome of the nature that nurtured you?
I think the second option for me, just because I believe in the whole, all the experiences that I've come through shaping me as a person and as an individual, to not only the customers that I work with, but my family in general, and friends that know me all know that whatever they've contributed in my life, that's what shines through my actions and mission. Yeah.
You're a very deep man. What are some of the events that are catching your interest at the moment, and why that's happening outside of music?
My goodness, I actually haven't had much time to sit and kind of focus on the world around me in terms of the wider specs. However, it's more so what researches are going on at the moment, and I think I've kept it close to home for a certain reason. But can I talk on
anything?
It's also research as opposed to world events, a major world event at the moment for me. And I think it's the whole research around stem cell regrowth and stuff like that, and more so because I also donate to various organizations that deal with challenges within the kids, like whether it be cancer or anything like that. At the moment, I do that as part of my love for researchers around stem cell growth and stuff like that, and regrowth. And yeah, I think for me, that's a really interesting thing. And
how and why did you get into looking into not just researching, but donating to the various causes that have found a tune in your heart?
It's more so the opportunities that we can provide for those individuals. And I always believe that whoever's giving their time up for me, and that it's an opportunity in itself. And for me, if I can provide 30 seconds a year or 10 years in somebody's life through donating and that, then man, like, just what better reason to be on earth and waste your time to give to others than that?
Can I give you my bank account? I just want to catch you while you're in the mood of giving things. All right, here's my final questions. On your 100th year, Earth year, and that could either be in person or in spirit, because if that stem cell thingy works out, we might be 100 in person. But on your 100th Earth year, what don't you mind being said about you?
What don't I mind? Oh my gosh. That was an egg, if that term's still around. That I was daring. Yeah, I was an elaborator of systems to simplify things. That I was not funny. Yeah, but most things I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't actually, mind. It would actually be more of an entertainment factor for me. They go, oh, really?
I'd like to add in that I think that you're an enabler. Right?
Thank you.
Because one of the things that I've come to know about you is the only people who think you have a disability are the ones that actually stop and look at you as a person. But they all love what you create.
Yeah.
And music-wise, is it spreading throughout the family? Are there any of the kids that are into the music, following daddy's footsteps? Or
yeah. Well, I try not to pressure them too much with it all. Sorry, I try not to pressure them at all, purely for the fact that if they are interested, it makes my job easy. I just come in as more of an advisor then, and as a friend in music. But yeah, I've got my daughter who's interested in it, and she absolutely loves her Samoa. It's also a way for her to be able to be a little bit more fluent in the language and to begin immersing herself in the language. She uses the art form of singing her traditional songs. Yeah, I think it's amazing.
Awesome. Mr. Wae Aumalesulu, the owner of TeJit Records, thank you very much for your time, and we appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
This is a very enlightening, and one of those, whenever you have a downtime, you just play it, because
absolutely.
Enabler. That's my final word for you, sir.
Enabler.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This podcast was produced and presented for SOUNZ, Centre for New Zealand Music, Aotearoa, by me, Tauiliili Alpha Maiava. The sound engineer is Phil Brownlee. Thank you for awhetaitele maloa pito to our guest, Wae Aumalesulu. For more about this podcast and other SOUNZ podcasts, and information about the music of Aotearoa New Zealand, go to SOUNZ Podcast website, sounz.org.nz. That's SOUNZ. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Whawhetai tele lava, mā loa pito.
Toi te ara puoru, Sounds.